Today we're going to be looking at SQLite, which is a powerful framework that works with Python to store, create, and retrieve data from databases. So to begin, let's make a new folder on the desktop called employee.database. Right? Now you're going to download employee.py from Brightspace week 4 and move employee.py into that new folder you created. And you'll do the same with database.py, which is also in week 4 of Brightspace, and move it to the employee database folder. Right. Now go into Visual Studio Code, and on the very top left, click on File, Open Folder, and now open the employee database folder on your desktop. Click Yes, I trust the authors. And now open up database.py. Right? Uncomment lines 7 through 13. And when you do that, don't just delete the hashtag, but also delete the space after the hashtag. Right? Hashtag space, delete. Okay. Hashtag space. And these lines will help us create a new table. We won't need them always, which is why they were commented out, but the first time you run this, you do want them uncommented, without the spaces there, of course, as well, so that this whole thing runs. Okay. Now, run database.py. Right? Now, open your employee database folder in the Windows Explorer. And you should see a file called employee, which is a database file. You'll want to open this up in SQLite Studio. If you don't have SQLite Studio, download and install it using the link in this video in week 4 of Brightspace. And the .py files are also attached as files in this video in Brightspace. But what we're going to type here is SQLite Studio download. Click on the first one, and let's download this. We'll go ahead and open the file and click Yes. Next, accept, next, 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 and next. Right? We don't have to launch it yet. We'll just finish it. And now we'll open up this file with SQLite Studio. Always use this app to open this type of file. Right, let's press OK. And now we see employee, and underneath employee we see tables, and the employee table, which you can double click on to open. Okay. You'll notice that when you click on data, Paul, Neville, and 20,000 have all been entered. And these have been entered from the py file that we were just on. Okay, let's go back to the structure of the table. We have first name, last name, and annual salary, which were all created from the cursor execute command in line 7 of database.py. Right. The data types, which are text, text, and integer, Those are also from lines 7 through 13, as we can see here, text, text, and integer. Let's go back to SQLite Studio and click on the Data tab. Right? These values over here are from line 15 of database.py. Paul, Neville, 20,000. Right? Let's go to line 8 and let's append some text after create table. So after create table, let's make a space and type if not exists after create table. And I know this is not grammatically correct, but this is so that we don't have duplicate tables created if this is run again. And now this way we don't really have to comment this out, which is really nice. Now let's comment out line 15. And above that line, let's make a new line and enter the following. First is input. What is your first name? Now let's copy and paste this line. Change first to last. This is input. What is your last name? And finally, pay equals int input. What is your annual salary in whole dollars? Okay. Now there's one more line that we need to create, and it's a bit tricky, so I'll type it in slowly. CRSR, which is cursor dot execute. Say insert into employees values, right? And now we do parenthesis, single quote, double quote, space, plus, space. str, which stands for string, and actually let's do that lowercase. str, parentheses, first, space, plus, space, double quote, single quote, comma, single quote, and it already entered the double quote for us. Space plus space. str last, space plus space. And now another double quote, and it ended it already for us, so we just put single quote, comma, single quote. It ended the double quote already, so we did space plus space, and we can word wrap at this time. str pay in parentheses, space plus space, double quote, right, and single quote. We actually want to remove the ending double quote in this case. Right. And we also want to remove this extra parenthesis that was created. Right. Now let's run this. Okay. What is your first name? So I'll fill in my name, Skylar. Last name, Brown. I'll put 20,000. Right. And these lines are selecting only the last name Neville, so we'll ignore the terminal for now. And let's reload the data. And cool, right? So if you change Neville to be your last name instead, if we try again, so this time I will say Timothy example 20,000. Okay, it actually says Skylar Brown because we put Brown there, but if we reload this, Timothy example shows up. So really, let me try this one more time, and I'll say example 2, example 2, run this, test example 2, 20,000, right? And the newly created data is in the terminal as well. Now, let's keep going. In database.py, let's delete the first, last, and pay variable lines, so we can actually comment them out. Let's comment them out. Right, now save this, and in employee.py, uncomment lines 5 through 8. When you uncomment, again, make sure to delete the hashtag and the space. Okay. Now change line 13 to say your. Right, now let's save this. Now let's go back to database.py, make a new import line. Say from employee, which is employee.py, import and star, which means wildcard. Import everything that's needed. Now we're going to say e equals employee, open argument, and now we'll put e dot in front of each execute variable in database.py. So I'll close this up to be a little bit more squished together. And so we say e dot first, e dot last, and e dot pay. And this is efficiency. Let's see how this runs. What is your first name? Test 2, example 3, 20,000. Right, and it's still going to print example 2 because we didn't update this, but let's just go into SQLite Studio, refresh the data, right? And this is shown because we didn't refresh it before, but this is what we just typed in. So this is what reuse is and what efficiency is, and for your homework, you will be creating a database and also a module containing class information, just like this, but make it pertain to your individual project, what you would like to store data to, what kind of table, what kind of data do you want to ask the user, what kind of data would you like to store, create a database.py and a module. You don't need to upload your DB file, just these two, database, and actually make it database.txt and whatever module containing classes you would like to name .txt. Okay, and put those both into a folder and zip it. And how do you do that? You go over to the desktop and you would create a new folder that you would put database and employee in. So if I was doing this for homework assignment, I would take these two new folder, put them in here, right click on them, send to compressed zip folder. And you would upload this zip to Brightspace.